finish my work, or I might come in there. Gary, get in here.
That way we'll have a nickel's worth.
This time of year is busy for everybody. You can see it on the road, like I was telling Tom, that we went to Beaumont to go to Verizon store, cause they sent us got 2 new phones. It said, Zach, you got those new phones, now you owe us $628. So I said, get in the car, we're going back. We're either taking our phones back or, something's gonna happen. And so, they worked with it. I said, it's just like going to a car salesman. That's the way they do it at Verizon store, I'm telling you.
They are.
You go back here, and, they got it set up just like the Verizon. They got one guy that walks around as the manager, and then they gotta go back there when they start to make a deal, and then they can confer with him.
Yeah.
And they don't know, that they done rub me the wrong way, that's why Sherry won't let me handle nothing.
Yeah, I refuse to, rent to own a phone. Yeah, I do all mine through Spectrum, they just do it through, call them on the phone, and it's done.
Yeah. Well, we've had a real good bid until we got these new phones, and they said they were fixing to cut off our security off our other old phones. So we had to get these new. All right.
I think so.
We do.
We're going hand in for it. Put that back on. You gonna do the other one too?
Yeah,
Might as well.
I don't know, I'm thinking they would help, but the last 2 months have been bad.
Sure you can go tomorrow night?
Yes, you can go,
Oh.
so bring a walker.
I do better when I'm standing up and walking. It's when I sit down, that messed up lower back.
Yeah, speaking of lower back, I got a call from, or a text from Wayne.
Yeah.
I'll read it to y'all, and then y'all can make heads with what he said.
I've gotta read y'all something that I was gonna read at the meeting, go ahead.
My sacrum vertebrae S1 slipped out of place. I can hardly rise up or walk without pain. Get it adjusted Thursday, 10 a.m.
So it's going tomorrow and getting it by the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read this to you. Sunday afternoon, when we were back there in the meeting, okay? Where is? Linda Carter, where are you?
Oh, yeah.
Let me find her, I'll just type it in.
Yeah, this is encrypted.
Wayne texted me about Linda Carter, but here's what he said about Linda Carter. Pat phoned, she is still taking breathing treatments for pneumonia. In one lung. Hard for her to talk. You hear that? Pat called,
Yeah.
it was Linda.
I was fixing to ask Pat,
Well,
He got confused with Pat Trout.
not only is it hard for her to talk, it's hard for her to text, because you couldn't hardly decipher what she was
That's
saying.
why I'm trying to find it, I can't find it, but
I
anyway.
get those with Candy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is worse, I'll find it. And I'll let you know.
Anyway.
And then, Mike moved over, and I'm sure Wendy's working, because she didn't work yesterday.
No, she's up there.
Huh?
I talked to Wendy earlier because she told me that she was gonna tell Carol to meet me at the church.
Okay.
And that she was gonna be helping pack up, Dora's apartment.
Yeah.
Right. So, to me, I would rather not even be on the list than be on that list. Because like that lady said when she was telling them, it could happen the day before, the other team has to drop out because something happened tragically. And she said it's happened before, and then they tell them that day, okay, y'all in. Well, did y'all practice? Did y'all got the stuff together? Can we get a bus to go up there? Because I think it's in Austin, the state championship thing. So it's a bad deal to me.
It's a bad deal.
But they got a medal, so, and they did really good.
That's a memory.
They, Red City, and Viner, and Hubbard. Hubbard, y'all know where that's at? It's just south of White House, of Tyler.
I knew where I'm at.
One at, Lamar, it was, Byron one and Silsby two, right?
No, still we got honorable mention.
No, it said that Byron was number one, and according to the video, you showed me and Michaela getting excited. Silsby, that was whenever they were at Lamar.
Right.
Yeah.
That was just getting the chance to go.
Go to this
It to
place.
go,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah. And so who else? Then you've got Tammy medications and how's she doing?
She, actually, today she woke up feeling a lot better, than she has been the last couple of days. I think she's over that home from the chemo.
Well, that's
Go
good.
or whatever, and then she gets to do it again next week. Yeah, next week, she gets to do the chemo again, so she'll be back down there. But, yeah, I told you about the pill. I guess they found one of the cancer cells that mutated, I thought, or however, I didn't even understand. They're treating it with a pill as well as the chemo, so this is gonna be the extreme.
Sherry's oldest brother, and he had found he had pancreatic cancer, and they've got it taken care of. But what they like to do in a lot of these pancreatic cancers, they like to go in there and do surgery now. So, where they insert a device in there and clip out where that cancer came, shrunk and all that stuff, and clip it out, make sure they get it off.
Right.
That's what they like to do.
Like you to keep my brother in your prayers, Terry. He's, I don't know, he's getting worse. Bad thing about it is he loses what's going on and then forms what happened in his head, which never happened. You know, like, she went to get groceries and in his head, she was mad at him and had left him. So he's really struggling.
Understand. You know, Jim Fleetwood, last night, when they got that hailstorm, it really messed with his head. He didn't know what was going on and all that stuff, you know, with the hailstorm. They had a hailstorm on Wylie, just east of Dallas. And it's pretty good. Get what he showed, Sherry show you the pictures, pretty impressive.
We got a phone call about 9:15, night before
Oh, yeah.
last. Then when I rolled over, it said Anita Weaver. And I went, oh, of course, I'm thinking everything, Jim's falling again, something's happened to Jim, you know? And I go, hello? And she goes, are y'all in bed? And I just said, I lied. I went, no, what's wrong? And, she says, Jim got this CPAP machine, and
Today.
we can't open it up to put water in it. And so Tom had to
She
get
said,
my phone.
Nita, I'm gonna let Tom have the phone and you tell him. So she started telling him, I said, take a picture of it, front, you know, back and stuff, and send it to me, and so sure enough, she took it, and I saw where there was this little lip. I said, now, right in front of that last picture you sent me, there's a little lip reaching under there, pull up on that. She said, that's it, we got it, you know, so.
And he was having some kind of test done yesterday at 12:30, and he was supposed to at 12:30 yesterday.
Yeah, and I
Yes,
didn't,
sir.
And we haven't had a chance to call him
I
today.
haven't. It's been one of those days.
I told Tom after we got the news and everything, I said, you know, it's just really bad to be loved.
Yeah, you just pull this
See, and I won't do that.
Yeah.
I won't do it to you, I won't do it to
You
nobody.
don't have to worry about, me and Sherry, I don't know what it is, but we can't, there's no way, I don't care, we have to get up at 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll be going to bed at 12.
Yeah.
That's some wet balls for us.
Yeah, you just don't go to bed till midnight.
It's, it always, I do everything start at 9 o'clock, time we get through doing everything I wanna do, taking all my pills, you know, reading the Bible, and all that stuff. I take a bunch. You don't want that list. It goes that long. A lot of them are allergy pills, but then I got my heart pills, my diabetic pills and all that junk.
But you're going through those things, right now, like Skittles. Allergy pills?
Do what?
I bet you're going through those allergy pills like Skittles right now.
No?
No?
Don't do that.
I would.
I got a nose spray. The nose spray is what's the best thing for me. I love that nose
He
spray.
has to use it, cause her nose bleeds, you know.
All right, let me do this right quick, pray, and then do this lesson, it won't take long for us tonight. Dear God, thank you for this day, thank you for this opportunity we have to come to prayer. Ask you to be with everybody that we talked about tonight, especially be with, Tammy, Terry, Wayne, Linda, Jim, Henry, be with all those that have cancer and diseases of the mind, Father. I ask you to be with them, give them comfort, give them strength, give them the healing that they need, and watch over them. Pray that you'll be with them and be with us as we minister to them and look to take care of them. Thank you so much for loving us and sending Christ to this earth. We ask you to be with us as we look at Job tonight. Help us to have the patience of Job and his understanding of what it is to be trusting God. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, we're in Job 6. I don't know if you've been here. Jared,
I have.
in Job,
My first one is back.
yeah, to me, it's a fascinating study. And, Eliphaz, whatever you call his name. it's just-
Eliphaz.
Eliphaz. Just got through with his, last week we got through with his statement to Job. Job already made a statement wishing he was dead, because of the sores and stuff. Tonight he kind of lets us know how bad, it tells us how bad the sores actually are. And, I think it's in chapter 7, he actually talks about that. And, it's always a miracle, how long these people talk. If this is everything they said, they were some long-winded people, especially Job. Job has a lot to say. And then, I don't know if I could say that much to people. Now, Sherry, if she was up there in my head, and yeah, she could. She'd talk y'all's ear off. But that's where we're at right now, where Job replies to what Eliphaz, I think is what he said, Eliphaz had to say. Then Job replied, if only my anguish could be weighed, and all my misery be placed on the scales, it would surely outweigh the sands of the sea. Where have we heard that statement before? Sands of the sea. What did God promise Abraham? sentence would be?
Yeah, like the sand.
Yeah, as numerous as the sand of the sea. No wonder my words have been impetuous. The arrows of the Almighty are in me. My spirit drinks in their poison. God's terrors are marshaled against me. Does a mighty donkey bray when it has grass? Or an ox bellow when it has fodder? Is tasteless food eaten without salt? Or is there flavor in the sap of the mallow, I'm gonna call it that. At the bottom of 9, the footnote says the meaning of the Hebrew for this phrase is uncertain, so they don't even know what mallow was. I figure some kind of tree, plant, or something. It tasted bad. It says, I refuse to touch it. Such food makes me ill. So, I love what this book, this book, it's called Job, the Bible textbook. Mike Willis, he says, explains these first 7 verses. Job justifies his bitter words of grief. Recognizing that his words had been rash, Job defends him as the response to excessive grief. If Eliphaz, that how he said, would just weigh the total of his misfortune on the scale, he would find them to outweigh the sands of the sea. No wonder he spoke such rash words. The arrows of the Almighty struck him as if he were a target, and poison on their lips were devouring his spirit. Now, to me here, the arrows of the Almighty are in me. Who's doing this to Job? God. That's who he thinks. Remember who's doing this to him? Remember, this is Satan. Satan asked, you know, if you took everything from him, if you, he would curse you and die. God said, okay, do it, but you can't take his life. So, we're getting to see that, but, you know, Job's not seeing it. But it's, he doesn't realize that God doesn't have a part in this. That's part of it, the pain that he's suffering. Verse 8, oh, that I might have my request, that God would grant what I hope for. There's that word hope for. That God would be willing to crush me, to let loose his hand and cut off my life. Then I would still have this consolation, my joy in unrelenting pain, and that I had not denied the words of the Holy One. Where he's saying basically to me he's saying I had cursed him. What strength do I have that I should still hope? What prospects that I should be patient? Do I have the strength of stone? Is my flesh bronze? Do I have any power to help myself now that success has been driven from me? So everything's been taken from him. He's still saying, okay, I don't have nothing left. And here's what he says. Job reaffirms his desire to die. That I might have my request, that God would grant what I hope for, and that would be death, that God would be willing to crush me, to go ahead and take my life. And we'll find out why here in just a few minutes, and it's what he's looking for relief. And he had sores from the head to his feet. Okay. Anyone who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty. But my brothers are as undependable as intermittent streams, as streams that overflow. darkening by thawing ice, a swollen and with melting snow. But that stopped flowing in the dry season, and the heat vanished from the channels. Caravans turn aside from their routes. They go off into the wasteland and perish. The caravans of Tema look for water. The traveling merchants of Sheba look in hope. They are distressed because they had been confident. They ride there only to be disappointed. Now you too have proved to be of no help. You see something dreadful and are afraid. Have I ever said, give something on my behalf? Pay a ransom for me from your wealth. Deliver me from the hand of the enemy. Rescue me from the clutches of the ruthless. What he's saying here, Job rebukes his friends for their lack of sympathy. That they, here's what he says. To him that is afflicted, pity should be shown from his friends, for he forsaketh the fear of the Almighty. However, Job's friends had not expressed any sympathy toward him. Instead, they had been like a wadi. A wadi is a gully that is full of water in the rainy season, but is empty during the dry season. They are like a deceitful brook. When the snow melts in the mountains, the waters fill the wadi, and it becomes black. When the winter turns warm and the wadi dries up, people traveling through the dry places turn aside from the path to seek water from the wadi, but find none. Job's friends were like a wadi to him. They had been his friends to him during the prosperity, during the rainy season, but when adversity came, the dry season, they were of no use to him.
You know, it's like, when it's very, very wet, that stream was full of water.
Right.
When it's very, very dry, that stream had no water. That's what a wadi is, basically.
Yeah.
It always has what you don't need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how you see that? You go out to West Texas, you see that all the time.
Yeah.
You go across these rivers and you look, river, but its creek has more water in that than that river did. There'll be little puddles here and there. But then during the rainy season, you go up there and the raging rivers.
Yeah.
So, he goes on. Now he changes his direction. Teach me and I will be quiet. Show me where I have been wrong. How painful are honest words. But what do your arguments prove? Do you mean to correct what I say, and treat my desperate words as wind? You would even cast lots for the fatherless and barter away your friend. I went through it. Here's a neat project for you to do. Go through the Bible and just get your highlighter and highlight every time God talks about the fatherless and the widows. You will be shocked how many times especially in the law, all the way up when he's correcting the Israelites. That's if they neglected the fatherless and the widows, they were sinning. That was a commandment to God to take care of them.
Yeah.
Or was I got off and started preaching. So I've got it highlighted everywhere in my Bible where God talks about it. But now be so kind as to look at me. Would I lie to your face? Relent. Do not be unjust. Reconsider, for my integrity is at stake. Is there any wickedness on my lips? Can my mouth not discern malice? Job rebuked Eliphaz for his shallow arguments. He challenged him to present his reasoned arguments and show him his faults. He would silently listen. But now harsh has become his words against him. Eliphaz's reaction to his harsh speech was arguing over mere words rather than enlightenment on the issue. To react to his rash speech was like attacking an orphan or one's desperate friend. That's what he was saying, Job was saying here. So, Job goes on. And this is the 7th chapter. To me, it's got a lot more interesting stuff in it for me that I'll point out. Do not mortals have hard service on earth? Service on earth? Are not their days like those of hired laborers? Like a slave longing for evening shadows, or a hired laborer waiting to be paid. So I have been allotted months of futility, and nights of misery have been assigned to me. When I lie down, I think, how long before I get up? The night drags on, and I toss and turn until dawn. Here it is, here he says it. My body is clothed with worms and scabs. My skin is poor, broken, and festering. So he shows us the state that he's in. His whole body is, I guess, it says worms. I guess flies will probably laid eggs, got maggots on them and everything, to get to the brass thing.
Something interesting to note about Job using his physical health, something we may want to talk about when we get to the end of the story, but when we get to the end of the story and Job starts getting things back, it never says he gets his health back. It's the one thing that's left out. It's mentioned at the beginning that he loses, and it never says that it comes back, which this is jumping ahead, but when I took a class on Job, one of the questions on our final was, do you consider Job a happy ending? Because he gets his physical things back, he gets a new family, right? But new family doesn't necessarily replace an old family. You can have more kids, but they don't replace the kids that you've lost. But then the health thing was another big one. If he could have, he likely still had carryover even after the end of the story from, you go through something like that, you don't lose the scars, you don't lose the way that it's impacted your health, most likely.
Right.
And maybe he has some form of whatever he had forever. Which just kind of, to me, encapsulates even more how bad his health was. He's scraping himself, he wants to die, he's describing it like this, and then we have no idea how healthy he ever becomes.
He always assumed that he was healthy, and he always assumed that
Maybe
Paul was healthy. But he says, I have a thorn that God will not take from me. Don't know if that thorn, some have suggested that when Paul got, he was blindness is one of them. That he went ahead and went blind there near the end. I don't know where they got that. You might know.
That's from, I don't remember which letter it is, but he writes, look at with what large letters I am writing.
Yeah.
And some people assume that he, most of Paul's letters were probably written by a secretary, and so Paul is dictating and someone else is writing, and when he does that, he's making the point of, notice the different handwriting, like this is me, it's not my secretary writing here. And some have thought that the large letters that Paul writes in is because he's hard of
may be reading, it's possible, I think it might be reading a little too much into, I think Paul's mad. And that's why he's yelling through writing. I think that makes a little
That
more
could be
sense
too.
than him being, and maybe it's both. Maybe Paul's mad and partially blind, or
Yeah, that's true. Verse 6, my days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, some kind of weaver's device, and they come to an end without hope. There's that hope word again. He uses it about 3 or 4 times in this two things he's got here. He's losing hope. He's losing his hope here. Remember, O God, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. He says that, and I don't know if that's a good point. And after reading that, does he see happiness again? At the end, he gets everything back, but does he see happiness again?
I don't think so. Might controversial.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he ever fully recovers.
The eye that now sees me will see me no longer. You will look for me, but I will be no more. As a cloud vanishes and is gone, so one who goes down to the grave does not return. He will never come to his house again. His place will know him no more. Therefore, I will keep silent. That's the next set of verses where they come in, and he says, 7 through 11, he says, Job recapitulates his suffering. A man's time on earth is compared to the time a man serves in the army as a hired servant. For a man to long for an end to this period is as natural as a slave wanting the evening shadows to come, so this day may end, or a hired servant looking forward to receiving his wages. Having said that his longing for death was natural, Job explains why he wishes to die, but recounting his suffering. And then in verse 7 and 8, he says, Job explained the pain of death. Those who loved him would see him no more. He would be like a cloud that appears for a while and then vanishes. You know, that's out of James 4, verse 14. He would descend into the Shalom. It's at S-H-L-O-O-L, S-H-E-O-L. Shalom. And it says peace here, and not peace. Let's see what it means here. And never come back to earth life again. So he would never turn to his house because was his lot. So and this is, but the what I call the verse that sets up the stages, they come to an end without hope, and his hope has been just about destroyed because he can't get any relief from his pain. I didn't finish reading verse 13. Therefore I will keep silent. I will speak out in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Then he's got the rest of these verses. I am the sea of the monster of the deep, that you put me under guard. When I think my bed will comfort me, and my couch will ease my complaint, even then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions. Here again, he's blaming these dreams and visions on God. But who is sent to, who has been released to give these to him, all this anguish to him? that Satan is doing this to him. So that I prefer strangling and death rather than this body of mine. I despise my life, and I would not live forever. Let me alone, my days have no meaning. So, he's down to where he says his days have no meaning. He's without hope. And then he says this. This is what throws me for a loop. What is mankind that you make so much of them, that you give them so much attention, that you examine them every morning and test them every moment? So, I always pay attention to my, because that sounded so familiar to me. What is mankind that you make so much of them? Psalms 8. I knew it sounded like something David would say. Verse 4. What is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. You made them rulers over the works of your hands. You put everything under their feet, all the flocks and herds and all the animals of the wild, the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea, all that swim in the paths of the sea. Lord, oh Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. That's what David said in Psalms, the next book over. In Psalms 144, Lord, what are human beings that you care for them? Mere mortals that you think of them. This is Psalm of David here. They are like a breath. Their days are like fleeting shadow. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he used basically a quote of David. Or did David get his quote from Job?
That's what I was gonna ask, is where we're looking at in the timeline.
Yeah,
For Job.
they don't know. They have no idea. All the scholars, everything I read, and I believe it's everything you read, they have no idea when this book was written, who it was written by.
If anyone cares how I date it, I date the composition late, so I would think Psalms to, well, dating the Psalms is another tricky thing, but I'd probably go Psalms to Job, though you could make it just as compelling of an argument going the other way. And then the Hebrew author borrows the language to talk about Jesus being made a little lower than the angels.
Yeah. I thought that was very interesting. Will you never look away from me or let me alone, even for an instant? If I have sinned, what I have done to you, you who see everything we do, you who sees everything we do, why have you made me your target? Have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my offenses and forgive my sins? Interesting statement there. For I soon lie down in the dust. You will search for me, but I will be no more. Now that last statement, we know that he will be no more. I wonder if he thought that would be just it. He'd be like a dog dead all over, like Robert dead all over. Or like we have the hope there's life after death. The way he's talking there to me, you will search for me, but I will be no more. If God sees and knows everything, how will he be no more? Maybe I'm taking it out of context, I don't know. But that's just a strange statement there too.
The ancient Hebrews didn't have a concept of afterlife. Everyone went to Sheol, which, to your point, deepens the very different than if you and I say that.
Yeah.
Right? If I say I would rather die than go through what I'm going through, I'm normally saying I would rather go to a better place than deal with. Job's just saying I would just rather be non-existent.
Here Job
than deal
deals
with this.
what he says is here, Job complains directly to God. He's poured out his heart to God. What can I do? Will you never look away? Will you never look away from me, or let me alone even for an instant? I thought that was just, if I have sinned, what have I done to you? You who sees everything we do. Now he says there he sees everything we do. You know, to me it's kind of mixed signals, but I probably put out a mixed signals if I was in the pain that he was in at this time. And there's one thing I wanted to read that made me think of this. Good, great. We'll get through this quickly. One thing I wanted to look at is found in Ephesians, no, 1 Corinthians, and I just might read the whole thing. We know Job's being tested here to see if he will curse the God and die. But in 1 Corinthians, Paul kind of covers this in a certain way. 1 Corinthians 10.
Chapter 10.
Yeah. Where he talks about, for I do not want you to be ignorant of the fact, brothers and sisters, that our ancestors were all under the cloud, and that they all passed through the sea. They were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. They all ate the same spiritual food and drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank from the spiritual rock that accompanied them, and that rock was Christ. Nevertheless, God was not pleased with most of them. Their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Now these things occurred as examples to keep us from setting our hearts on evil things as they did. Do not be adulterers as some of them were. As it is written, the people who sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. We should not commit sexual immorality as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 of them died. We should not test Christ as some of them did, and were killed by snakes. And do not grumble as some of them did, and were killed by the destroying angel. These things happened to them as examples, were written down as warnings for us, on whom the accumulation of the ages has come. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you do not fall. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So, Job being, I guess, tempted, tested, tried, he doesn't realize it, but he passed the test at the end and is justified, but not before, because when we get to, we'll go ahead and read the last 4 chapters, I think. It starts with 32, I think, where God speaks to Job. And he tells him basically how to calculate the catch. He says, who are you? And were you there? When I? So, he passed the test. We know he passed it because then he tells the 3 friends, all right, Job, y'all go put up altars, sacrifice on the altar, and Job's gonna pray for y'all. Then they would be, forgiven. But, I thought that was interesting, it came to me today as I studied this, all this temptation, all this, trials that were put on Job. Now we can go back, we ourselves can go back and look, hey, all these trials that are coming at us, we all have them. There's nobody, we have all kind of trials coming at us. It seems like they always come all at once. And it always seems like there's more that we can bear. But God tells us through Paul, there is a way out. And it's through Him, through Christ. So, we gotta keep strong, even though sometimes it's really, really hard. Many times, you know, even I've had to get down on my knees and say, God, you gotta get me through this. I don't know if I can do it. I have done that. Hard times. And
But isn't it amazing when we get down on our knees and we say that to Him, and it's coming from the depths of our heart, when you get that feeling that comes over you, that He has answered your prayers, and that you just get that feeling, you know, and it just, it's wonderful.
yeah, you have to get down and then throw it to His hands. And just say basically what Jesus said, not my will, but your will, God. That's what you gotta do. Pure, simple stuff. So Job, Bildad starts talking next, and he doesn't talk as long as, he's only about 12 verses, 22 verses. He's not like the old man. The old man spoke for 2 solid verses. Then Job speaks for 2 verses after him. And I'm gonna talk to you after we get through. But that's all I really went over today. Like I say, this is all to me, I like it, you know, that's, might be not that interested to y'all as much as me, but I love reading Job. I'm in Numbers now, daily Bible reading with the one that Craig got us started on in that NIV book. And, we got out the first big numbers now that it's gotten, you know, it's getting wild now. Just got into where Aaron, God didn't choose, didn't whisper. He said, Aaron, bring your son along. You're fixing to be gathered to your people. Then you're over, you're through. That's basically what God said there. Okay, I'm through. And He gave a reason why. Because he and Moses struck the rock. Wow. Kind of scary, isn't it?
What was that, name called, the stream full of water, was this? A wadi.
Wadi.
Steve called you what? He did, he said, every time I go to diet, she bakes brownies.
I do
A
not.
wadi, yeah, he'd go right there.
You lying.
Yeah, I learned a lot of new words out of this stuff.
Yeah.
Wadi, huh?
Yeah. Oh my, y'all. Yeah, I ought to do another, I could have done it on, my other big thing that I read to myself all the time. you know, Malachi 6, you know what that says? Why not? Cause y'all know it's crazy about his dying. Y'all want me to read it to you?
Sure.
If I can find it.
That's one of the books in
It's
the
in
Bible.
Malachi, it's right after 5, right? 4:7.
Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, almost.
It's the very end.
You've only got one to go back from.
Yeah, don't do Malachi, don't do Micah, do Malachi.
No, Malachi 3, verse 6.
What does it say?
You never did listen to my sermon on it?
No, I'm not.
I, the Lord, do not change.
Somebody does.
I can't even find it.
He said it didn't have it.
There it is.
Just run the format.
Yeah, there it is. Well, mine only has 4 chapters, what was yours?
3, verse 6.
Okay.
Got it highlighted here. Y'all remember that? Y'all might not have been here that day. I spoke
When was that, how long ago?
a while back. I had to do the lesson. I did the whole lesson on it.
I, the Lord, do not change, so you, the descendants of Jacob, are not destroyed.
And then interchangeable is when you hear it says relent. It's basically interchangeable. I do not change. I do not relent.
Ask me again.
It's cheap.
Who did you say that you needed to talk? Who were you gonna want to?
You.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
because he asked me a question after our meeting Sunday night, and I need to
You're
know.
talking about Spencer?
Yeah.
He's been on the job too. He just shares some stuff with me. He's on the job.
I appreciate this, Tom. This has really helped me out.
That little book
It-
is in.
I love these little, I can go, okay, I break down the scriptures, because you start reading it, you just, okay,